I want to know, what would you tell a young journalist entering the business about why journalism is a worthwhile craft to practice for a career?
I have always been passionate about telling stories that might bring change, even if it only changes one person's mind. And when that happens, it is an amazing thing. And that's what I would tell them. You have a chance to tell stories that bring change.
Yeah. And don't you think we're playing a long game here? I mean, I think people sometimes expect journalism to have like immediate impact, immediate consequences. When like I think of the journalism that I most admire, the problems they were writing about took decades to resolve. And it was not one individual story that solved a problem. I'm thinking about Ida B. Wells and her coverage of lynching in the late 19th century, early 20th century. I mean, she did amazing reporting and changed minds and helped people. But it wasn't like her reports came out and everything was fine afterwards. No, it was part of social progress that was decades in the making.
Yeah, what's sad is that I am more and more looking back to examples like that to process the current moment, to understand that there may be quite a long period where the government is coming after us in ways that we are not used to. And reminding myself that there were pioneers who had to deal with even worse, and now we elevate them and now we talk about how wonderful they were. But in that moment, they didn't have any guarantees that their work was going to reach people or change things or matter at all. And they did it because they knew it had to be done. And that's where we are now.
Anita, I know you work with a lot of young journalists at Politico, or people entering entering the profession. Where do you see signs of hope, and what do you tell people about what you've gotten out of this?
Something very similar, but really I wouldn't say the word change, but more like education, and that could be anybody, you know. Someone reads something and they decided how they wanted to vote, and they learned something and they made a decision. Or, you know, having worked in state houses, you know, the governor reads something that you wrote or heard something that you said and learned something and made a decision based on something. I mean, really it's education.
You know what? That's bringing change.
So a different way of saying it. But change and sort of implies like, I think it should go in a particular direction.
Yeah.
And I don't actually. And so that's why I'm saying it a little bit differently.
Sure.
Which is, I'm letting you know something that I've discovered, and you can make that, you can process that and make a decision. So for me, the optimistic times are when I hear one person tell me, and I heard one last night, that he read something you know, in Politico or wherever I happen to be working, or any news outlet, you know, and that made someone think about something and they learned something new. To me, those really specific examples are the, you know, the optimistic, the reasons I think to get into journalism. It's still a great and fun profession too, but really just telling people things they don't know.